Hey guys, Steve at IronTrap Garage. Today we're going to tackle the Lincoln. Alright, so the plan for today is to get the intake manifold bolted back to the actual engine without spacers, get rid of the 12-volt alternator, the blower motor, and basically just try to get everything back to a stock configuration. Matt pulled all the wiring out of this and it looks way less scary now. So we'll see what happens. Oh my. Don't know how well you can see his adjustment system there for the alternator, but he has a turnbuckle going to an eye hook that he ran through the side of the inner fender. Less than ideal, but I guess it worked. I think that's for a clothesline, actually. Come on. Oop, more spacers. Wonder what the heck that was off of. Presto light. Used all thread. Oy. I can see a lot of debris down underneath the intake manifold. So I'll try to blow as much of it out of there as I can before I pull it off. Oh yeah. There we go. There we go. Oh boy. Oh, that thing is stuck okay. Alright. There we go. Let's see what we got. This guy was incredibly confident in his engineering. What do we got here? Let's see. Little pieces of exhaust tubing. Appears to be all it is. With a homemade gasket. Yeah, I guess it's just I cut a gasket out of gasket paper, and wow, I don't know. Oh, that one was missing a washer. It's got a wash. It's got an intake manifold, a washer, and then a gasket in between the washer and the pipe. Then a gasket, a washer, and a gasket up against the bottom of the intake manifold. He thought it all through. I mean, he had a plan. Wow. Oh, and of course, don't forget the PVC spacer on the fuel pump stand there. Wonder how he got the fuel pump to work. Oh, I'm guessing he made his own fuel pump push rod too. Oh, spacers, some more washers. All right, time to see what's under the under the gasket. This is a thin sheet of tin that he used to cover up the rest of the hole in the intake manifold gasket. Interesting. Whew. I definitely glued the gasket down. Didn't want any leaks. There we go. Old Felpro gasket. Alright. Oh my. That is very nice inside. Alright, so after we figured out that the engine in the 39 had been rebuilt, we were really hoping that he had done the same with this one, and it looks like it could be the case. The valley's really clean, there's no sludge. The valve springs are nice and clean. I think this engine was definitely rebuilt. Look how nice and clean that is. No big piles of sludge down in the bottom, which is always a welcome sight. Alright, we got it all cleaned up. Time to start going back together. We got a new gasket here for it. Something else I learned that has common intake ports too. It shares intake ports on the V12. Now I know that. Oh wait, maybe I should just do that. All the way up, dummy. Yep, that'll work way better. Alright, get the gasket lined up. See what we can find for bolts. Since I had to remove a few of the head nuts to take brackets off, I'm going to go over and retorque the heads to see where they're at, make sure everything's good there. Found a diagram online.
All right, so Steve's been working on the Lincoln, and Mike and I were unloading from Carlisle, digging around for some parts. We had this stashed away, found this at the estate where we got the Lincoln and the 39 Ford, and we had our hunch that this was out of a Lincoln. It looked very Ford-like, but it was bigger, kind of like a pancake gas tank. And then when I was looking under the car, it has no gas tank. So that probably answers that question. So it looks like this has been cleaned out at some point. It was very clean inside. We're probably gonna just do a quick blow it out, vacuuming out anything there. Steve's been working off camera a little bit, getting I just went to Napa and we got some GM style ballast resistors. The ballast resistors that were the factory ones in the fuse box Steve was going to use, but one of them I think gave up the ghost and was not working any longer. After he tested it yesterday, right?
Yeah, I tested it for 10 minutes and then I put it on the car and it didn't work.
So,
of course.
So we went and got 2 new GM style. Just for now, we're just looming this wire loosely just so we could start the car and move it. Eventually, when we get a little further, we will properly wire the car. So Steve's just, don't hate on us too much for our random wiring that's not totally loomed, but he's got all that done. Got the intake back down. I guess you found, we think, hopefully, oh, you have that over there somewhere, the push rod. Steve pulled the push rod out, so he had made up this little, it's pretty nice piece of copper tubing, and he actually put a rivet in there, or made a rivet or whatever, and slid these in there. Maybe that's not a rivet, that's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But he put these little ends on it that are steel, and maybe with the lathe he made it.
Maybe. It's just copper. It's just copper tubing. It's really, when I pulled it out, it was way too light.
Yeah. So Steve took a V8 flathead V8 push rod, and it seems very close. So we're gonna have to test that and see. If we don't have one that works, we may just run an electric pump for the time being, just to get it up and running. But we're hoping that fuel pump will work with that push rod, but we don't really know because it doesn't move. It moves like the tiniest little bit to actually make the pump work. So we'll find that out once we start trying to suck fuel with it. Yeah, so we got pretty much all that stuff's good. Generator's back on with a stock V8 belt it took, which is a nice thing that Ford did. And so you have the switch in here working, the push switch?
Yeah, I have the key switches hooked up, and I put a starter button switch in there.
And we're not getting real crazy. Obviously this dash is really crappy looking, so it's going to need to be addressed. Right now we're just trying to get it mobile. That is the goal for today's video. So again, we still have a lot of his mess of wiring to delete. All that stuff, I just trimmed the wires off to disconnect anything, but we have switches and all resistors and stuff still hanging down, so we're going to take care of that. But here shortly we're going to put the lift under the back end, get it up in the air a little bit, and then we're going to put the gas tank in and try and hook that fuel line up. Steve had already blown out the hard line that comes up right here. He had already blown out. We think we're going to have to change the fuel pump because we know on the 39 he had done some monkeying with the pump and the pressure was way too high, and it was overflowing the carbs, so we're going to probably change that out. It looks like it's just a stock V8 pump would work, so we have some rebuilt ones we'll throw on. So that's where we're at. Hopefully soon we'll get this thing running again on its gas tank. All right, so Steve and I we put a rebuilt fuel pump on this, and we just hooked up our gas can because I was thinking, well, we have such a long fuel system, we better check to make sure that we actually have suction out of our new pump because we changed the push rod. So Steve he just grabbed the V8 push rod out of the bin, didn't really check, just threw it in, and we got nothing, zero pressure, nothing out of it. So we started looking online, and I saw that I found an article, this is my phone, on ACA forum that somebody put an article from the early V8 times or something in it, or whatever, Zephyr magazine, I don't know. But apparently the Zephyr uses a different push rod. I guess in 37, 38 they used literally a 34 Ford push rod, but after that they did not. One of the big features is apparently on the Lincoln one, there is a groove cut in here, and it actually oils this area here where it rides in the engine so that they don't get seized. Great idea, but not totally necessary. And we put this one in, and you can see Steve put a little bit of grease on it just so where it hit the cam it got some lubrication. Well, it didn't even touch that. So that was our problem.
Yeah.
We also saw that the measurements they gave us on the AACA forum or on this article was 8.9 is the length of a Lincoln push rod. A Ford one we found is 8.87, which I think is such a small difference it should be okay. So this is the longer one, so we thought that was the problem. Then Steve noticed, luckily before we put it in, the distance from the umbrella here to the end is identical on the V8 ones. And then looking at the photo in the article, even though it's in the article, it looks like it's a longer distance. So that would, number one, be why we weren't even touching or moving. So we're gonna have to take this umbrella off. This is why the push rod he made probably has no umbrella at all on it. So we're gonna have to cut that off, and I can turn it in the lathe and just make it smooth. Because I guess it's gonna need to ride over where the umbrella is.
This is going to have to slide down into the block now.
Yeah,
that part's going to be in the block.
So I need to do a little bit of machine work, but this one looks to be the one that should do the job. So back to the drawing board. We thought we were ready to throw the gas tank in. We are not. Another step. All right, so step one, take the tin snips and just cut the bulk of the umbrella off, because we don't need it. That way I'm not turning down all this material for all this time. Then we'll get the calipers out and measure what the actual diameter is down in the block. And that's what we'll turn it to. The only problem with this big of an engine bay, I can't see what I'm doing. I'm just fishing blind. You can feel it? Sounds like it.
Yeah, that's down against the cam.
I think.
Yeah.
Let's put some grease on it.
Yeah.
I want to make sure.
Yep.
It must have been almost touching, because I got a little grease on the end of it. Look.
Oh yeah.
Maybe your dab of grease just barely touched. I want to make sure that my diameter, it might, with the calipers, it's really close.
Okay.
But I want to make sure it's not like I'm a couple thousandths off and it's, you know, catching on my. Not a problem.
Oh yes.
Looks like it, right?
Oh yeah.
So you must have been.
Must have been pretty close.
Well, I turned an extra inch to make sure. I mean, it doesn't move that much, but just in case. Does that feel like it's sitting up a little higher now than before?
Yeah. I'm trying to. It kind of feels like it's bottoming out the fuel pump though. I don't know why that is. Here, check. Oh wait, I just had to compress the fuel pump a little.
It's all the way up. It might be towards the top of the.
I think that's the case. It's up on the top of the lobe of the cam.
I mean, according to the article we read, it's the correct length. So
yeah, I just had to push a little harder. You can feel the spring pressure there.
That's what we want. Okay. All right, I'll turn the lathe off and we'll try again.
Yeah, buddy. Go ahead. None yet.
That's weird. I see fuel here.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that doesn't matter.
There it goes. Yep.
Fucking switch.
Yeah, you can see it pulsing, so yeah, we're good.
Great.
We are fuel pumped.
Oh. Now we're ready to put a tank in and make it live again.
Yeah, brother.
Yes.
Still good?
You're about off now. That's doing what we want, lifting the S end up.
Yep.
Oh, you want me to put some chocks under the front?
That's a good idea. Not dying today is on my list, actually.
All right, so Steve and I got the car in the back up, and first time we're getting a look underneath of this thing. And Steve is noticing the exhaust is as expected there's a little bit of welding happened there.
I think it was cast iron he used though.
Yeah, a piece of cast iron. And there's about 4 pieces Steve mentioned. Right there, slip joint, slip joint, slip joint.
Yep.
Holding it together. And this thing, of all cars, this car has a single exhaust while the 39 had dual, which is interesting. But you can see he left the stock fuel line is right where it's supposed to be. The trunk floor is extremely clean. I mean, the whole car underneath it was undercoated at some point, so it's quite clean for the age of the car.
Really
I mean,
nice.
it didn't fare as well as the, oh my God. Look at that muffler.
Yeah, there's tape on it. That's all I can see from this distance.
Is that? Oh my God.
Looks like aluminum foil tape or something.
Yeah, the muffler must have started to leak, so he used some aluminum foil around. It looks like he took the end cap off.
Oh no.
And then he pounded it back on with that aluminum foil. So that'll be fun to deal with, but we know that it's free. I mean it's clear, nothing blocking it. So that's that. We're gonna work on getting the gas tank here mounted up. Luckily, he left everything together. And
The rear cross member is rubber mounted.
Yeah, it must have been.
That's crazy. Look at that. Man, talk about a luxury car. Look.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Yeah, that's cool. That is wild.
Man, I wonder why these things were so nice and smooth.
Well, if we wanted to lower it, it'd be pretty easy. We could take this piece out
Yeah.
and flatten it,
Mm-hmm.
and then put it back up in there.
Yep.
Or, yeah, that might have to happen because this thing definitely needs to sit lower.
It does a bit. Yeah, it does.
All right, so we're gonna get this gas tank mounted up in, and see if we can get the fuel line hooked up and get fuel to the front. So the bolt went in from the top or the bottom. How was it when you got it? You don't remember?
The bolt was sat like that. Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then on the rear of the tank, the flange sits on top of the frame rail.
Oh, it's like a 40. That's how I think 46/8 are too.
Yeah. So once we get that up there and get that front one started,
It'll hold itself.
Yep.
All right.
Let me. All right.
Hold on, honey, you're too far.
Do you need to get
we gotta
the neck up in first?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
There we go. We're over the.
And we got a here. Where's the fuel line? There's a fuel line.
Yep.
There's the bolt. Hold on, let me. Come on. There we go. All right. I don't know if I'm on. I think I got it. All right. I think it's on. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
What a terrible design.
Right. It was real good right up until that point.
All right. First splash of fuel here. I got the filler neck was actually in the trunk. So I'm gonna swap with you so I can check for leaks.
Yep.
The filler neck was in the trunk, so I was able to just slip that right on there after cleaning some rust out. And I'm gonna try to add some fuel, and hopefully this thing holds fuel.
Yeah, that would be
Not
good.
some magical leak.
That would be good.
Where's your light at? Oh. I'm just gonna use this little underneath.
Yep.
Make sure we're good. All right. I wonder how many gallons this thing holds.
A lot. That's a big tank.
Yeah, it is a big tank. That's gotta hold. Think that's 20 gallons? Maybe not.
18, 20 gallons, I'd say.
so?
I bet. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's Ford is like 13 gallons.
This thing probably gets about 3.5 miles to the gallon, so.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
That whole 5-gallon can will barely do anything.
Mm-hmm. About it.
Wonder when the last time this thing actually had fuel, like, in it.
Right.
Alright, so throttle closed this time.
Throttle's closed.
Right.
Choke is halfway.
Probably just have to leave the choke on and let it.
Yep, we're getting fuel up to the fuel filter.
Maybe you need to open the choke more.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, close the choke more to get the idle up.
Okay, yep. There we go. We're drifting pretty good there. I think it is coming right out of the body.
Got a leak here at this head bolt. You can see it bubble in there.
Oh, okay. Weird. That's where I sprayed oil on it.
Maybe it's leaking. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can see bubbles coming out of it.
Yeah, it's
Probably
hopefully
leaking,
it'll seal itself
leaking
up.
around the thread.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I can't believe we got fuel that quick.
Me neither.
The float must be a little high or something.
Yeah, I think it's top's warped, the float's a little higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Yep.
That's right, I don't want to do that.
No.
Nope.
Too much. All right.
Maybe it needs more fuel idle. Idle air mixture might need to be richer.
Yeah, let me give it a little twist there real quick.
That thing, even for not being 100%, as smooth as it runs, it's
Yeah,
kind of.
that was pretty nice. Heck yeah.
That started way easier this time. I almost feel like there had to be vacuum leaks with that setup you had. I just don't.
I wouldn't trust that at all. Yep.
Because it didn't start that easy for me when I first got it going. Even after I got it running, it was still kind of hard. And,
Okay.
oh, and we don't even have half our cylinders on. This wire's pulled, that wire's pulled, that wire's pulled.
Can you imagine how nice that's gonna run now? Son of a bitch, I gotta check that stuff more closely, huh?
Maybe the guy, I wonder if the guy that changed the intake manifold might have forgot to put them on.
Probably not. Dummy probably knocked them off afterwards.
Are yours all on?
Yes, they are. This side's okay.
It's probably gonna run awesome.
Hell yeah. Dumbass. Good lord. I suck.
I love that. Oh man, I wonder the fuel mixture.
Yeah.
Where we were running on like 10 cylinders.
Uh-huh.
Hey!
Oh my god, look how smooth that is. You can't feel this thing running.
You get that little drop down? That's probably why it died. There you go.
You can't feel this thing running.
It's just like, yeah.
That's amazing. Holy crap.
It runs so much smoother now.
Yeah.
It didn't run that nice before. Like, I couldn't get it to run. I mean, it was decent, but it wasn't that. Wow.
Hey, I still have the idle up a little bit.
There you go. Boom. Look how quiet the lifters are, because they're hydraulic lifters from what everybody on the internet was telling us. And they're quiet. I mean, they're...
Holy crap.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's amazing. I'm shocked every time when they do that. Holy crap.
Wild.
Hell yeah, it is.
It's quiet. I just can't believe how quiet the engine is from sitting for that long.
Yep.
Like we said, we were talking about this. It had to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that it would be, everything would be this nice and quiet.
Yep. Yeah, looking at it, I took pictures of it with the camera. You see the valley. There's no sludge, nothing.
Wow.
I mean, the car was run, but it was definitely rebuilt.
Yeah. Well, it might have been like the 39 where it was redone in the 70s.
Yeah.
Barely driven, you know, a couple thousand miles on it or something.
Yep.
Over 50 years or 40 years or something.
Yeah.
Smell it burning all the shit off the exhaust from a million.
Yep. That sounds pretty sweet. Unfortunately, you can hear all the leaks too.
Yeah, you can hear all the exhaust leaks. Mainly that muffler area.
Right there.
I mean, there's a little smoke out of the tailpipe, but kind of. Okay, so after having to re-engineer the pedal setup because it's been messed with and we think we're missing a Lincoln specific part, we made a Ford pedal work in this. It seems like the throw is really short, so it might be from like idle to wide open throttle instantly.
Yeah, which can always be exciting.
Can add a layer of excitement to the process because we don't have brakes other than the e-brakes. So I'm gonna first see if
There's a lot of gas in there. You're playing with the throttle.
yeah, we're gonna have to hope that it'll even start. So try that first. Holy crap. Let's see how the throttle works. What the hell is it?
Boy, the top on that carburetor is really warm. I can see where it's coming out. It's coming out between it. It had a lot of.
I don't feel fine.
Does it?
Does it feel like, holy shit?
Yeah. Well, you ready to shut the hood and go for a ride?
I want to see if the clutch works.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
We didn't
start.
even get to that point yet.
Being optimistic.
Hey.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, we should probably air the tires though.
Just want to go for a ride.
Let's air the goddamn tires.
all right.
First time out of the garage under its own power.
In many, many years.
right, so first successful test drive around the yard with Steve and Moon, and we made it there and back. We did a little drive around. I didn't get out of first gear, but pretty cool that it actually drove decent for having square tires and no brakes and everything else. But we were having a lot of fun along the way, which is the most important thing. So it's really surprising now that we got this thing kind of, a lot of the weirdness corrected on it. It fires right up and idles, and it seemed to be fine. I'm sure it needs some tuning with the carburetor, and probably we think something with the timing brake and the distributor. Some of that stuff might need some attention, but for what it is, considering where the car came from and not running for we don't know how long, it did really, really well. So we've been parking stuff right out in this area, and Steve and I have been sitting down in our little seating area there and just staring at it and pondering. And you could really see out in the daylight now how many sins this car has. This thing has been smashed and welded on and hammered and all kinds of stuff. This is not a virgin car. It's very much very close to the opposite of the 39 Ford Coupe we got out of there. So don't quite know exactly what I'm doing with it yet, but the goal is to try and get it roadworthy just so we can move it around. We now got it moving that I could drive it with the handbrake and park it upstairs, and we can work on it as we get time. But we're definitely going to try and get actual brakes on it, get some of the wiring and stuff that's still really sketchy sorted out on it, get some gauges working and all that, just so we can move it around and go from there. And who knows, maybe we'll take it on some test drives in its crappy state, because it's cooler to have a car that looks crappy and still runs and drives than to have something just sitting in the garage for the rest of my life trying to make it look pretty. So that is our next update on the Mad Scientist Lincoln Continental. It's been a ton of fun and really rewarding to get this thing moving under its own power again. It's kind of crazy that where this came from, and now that it starts and runs, it's just still blows my mind every time we do this. So that's all I have for this one. Thanks guys, catch you later.